This is for you. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Yeah, this for my dogs from the east to the west side. You rockin' brown and orange with me, baby. Let's ride. Represent the land, let them know. Tell them, here we go, brownies. Here we go. Yeah, here we go.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. I'm Allie Heisong, coming at you live from North Carolina, and joined with me, as always, out in beautiful Boise, Idaho, Dustin. What's going on?
Allie, I'm living pretty good. It's not Victory Monday, but I'm still drinking out of this wonderful Victory Monday glass. I'm enjoying this
Victory
week.
Wednesday. It's Victory Wednesday.
It's Victory Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way to Saturday, and then Sunday we figure out what happens, right?
It's victory all the way until kickoff next Sunday.
At 10:59, it's Victory Monday, Saturday, whatever you want to call it. Allie, I tell you what, I'm not very happy with my college football team. They came up short. Fresno State's a good football team, but I'm watching all this crazy stuff that's happening in the Big Ten. That's a little crazy. All this stuff with all that, that's getting nuts. So that's interesting watching from afar. But we got a tough matchup coming this Wednesday. We got the Baltimore Ravens on the road, the number 1 versus 2 defense in the National Football League. Both play great man-to-man coverage. I think this is going to be a dogfight. I think it's going to be a great game to watch. And I think we're going to learn a lot about our football team on Sunday going forward for the second half of this season. So,
yeah, Dustin, before we get into it, because that's what I want to kick things off with, if you don't mind, I'm going to turn it over to you real quick to talk about our new partnership with the Barley House.
Guys, if you haven't been to the Barley House, you're doing it wrong, right? If you're in Cleveland and you're down there on West 6, go check it out. They're actually voted by Las Vegas Bar Association as one of the 100 best bars in all the country and the only one in Ohio. Catch them for away games. Doors open at 9. 11:30, they start games. They have a lot of fun. Allie, I know we've been in that place. It's kind of an icon there in Cleveland, but they got great food specials. The Barley Girls have all the different prizes going. But I tell you what, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of high energy, but it's a great place to be on home or away games before you go down and check out the Browns game for home game, or if it's an away, to go down there and take your friends and enjoy all the great food they have and all the great entertainment.
There you go. There you have it. That's our new partnership with the Barley House, so be sure to check them out. Dustin, you mentioned it. This is probably one of the biggest tests, if not the biggest test of the season so far, playing against Baltimore in their house, which is going to be, that's going to be really difficult. But you've got the best defense in the National Football League, and you also have Deshaun Watson starting for you. So that's a couple of things to be optimistic about.
Yes.
We saw the progression from Deshaun Watson last week. I would say the first half was rough. It wasn't pretty, but they were able to come away with a win. But what I want to focus on is last week against Arizona, that second half, he got for the first time some garbage time reps. And you can't get better, and you can't expect him to get better without those reps. So he finally got those. Hopefully that can start to build some confidence for Deshaun Watson and kind of, just get rid of some of that shoulder injury rust. Look, I'm not here to say that Deshaun Watson's struggles have been blamed on rust, because I don't think that we're well beyond that. But from his injury, getting back into, physical playing condition and ready to rock and roll, him going into Baltimore is going to be a really big test, not only for this Browns offense, but for this Browns team as a whole. We know that that's a really tough place to play. I think that the Baltimore Ravens are one of the best teams in the National Football League. I don't think we expected that going into this season, that Baltimore would be as good as they currently are, but they are just absolutely dominating teams. However, they also sometimes play down to their opponents. We know in the previous matchup against the Browns, that's DTR going in. It was an absolute crapshoot. You go into this better prepared. You go into this maybe with a little bit more health. We'll talk about some of the moves on the IR here in just a moment, but you go into this feeling a little bit better. Your defense is kind of adjusted. You are optimistic going into this, but I think this is going to be one of the biggest battles of the season.
Yeah, and here's the thing. A lot of people made a lot of noise about Deshaun needed a tune-up game, and the Cardinals would be a good team to do that with. I kind of think he did need a tune-up game, right? One that he could come back out, like you said, get those reps in, get that comfortableness. And like you said, I think he got more comfortable as the game went on, right? He felt more in tune with Amari Cooper. He felt like, and I think he said after, and I think even Kevin Stefanski made this comment that Deshaun and Amari drew that up in the dirt out there, that last play in the third quarter. So, I think that says a lot about he is the team captain. They're rallying around him. If you listen to the words from Myles Garrett and a lot of the veterans, they are rallying around and they're confident. They're confident that he can lead this team going forward in the season. And I think that's something that I look forward to seeing on Sunday and seeing him extend plays,
Yeah.
making those difficult decisions that need to be made with a franchise quarterback, right? That's what you want. That's what you paid in excess of $200 million to make him win those games for you if he needs to and not lose them and keep you in those games. And of course, the defense, we know the defense will come play. They will come to play. I don't know if you saw a little bit of this, but Myles Garrett went on Pat
I
McAfee this
did.
week and he said, Joe Burrow is the guy. Like he goes, like he can beat you multiple ways, but he goes, I'll take care of Lamar Jackson this Sunday. So, little fun there. But I don't know. I just think this game will be close. I really do because when you have two really good defenses playing against each other, it usually neutralizes those offenses or makes it very difficult for those two teams. The
Mhm.
only problem I have is they have Tucker on the other end. So if they need to make a 50 or 60-yard field goal, not a problem, right? So for that sake alone, I think the Browns need to get into the end zone as many times as they can on Sunday because, and I also think they need to get a lead a little bit and
Yeah.
also stay on the field because your best offense is when you're staying on the field and Lamar Jackson's not out there because the one thing that Baltimore does do very well, they run the ball. And I didn't think we'd think they'd run the ball as successful as they have been this year. And second, they are extending drive 6, 7, 8 minutes and they're killing clock. And that's just a detriment to the other side of the football.
They're one of those teams that can suffocate you. We talked about the Browns last week, how they got into an early lead against Arizona, and they can just sit on you and suffocate you.
Yep.
San Francisco does that. Baltimore does that. If they get up on you early, they will not let you get the ball back. And if they do, they are going to all out blitz. It's going to be disgusting. They're going to pin their ears back and they're going to make your life a living hell. That's who they are. And
Well,
that's why they are winning football teams. That's who they've always been.
Well, that's what they did against DTR in Cleveland and that rookie quarterback. They just made his life hell all day.
Yeah. So I would expect and anticipate that the game plan for the Cleveland Browns is going to be, if they win the toss to go out early, because if you can get an early lead on this Baltimore team, man, you're going to come out feeling a lot better. You are in a much more advantageous position than you would be otherwise,
Right.
because Baltimore will suffocate you. And it's amazing that they're able to do that without J.K. Dobbins. I mean, they plug and play Gus Edwards in, and he's able to do it. And giving credit to Todd Monken, former Cleveland Browns offensive coordinator, and what he's doing over there. He has turned Lamar Jackson into a very good thrower of the football. I know that was one of the knocks on Lamar was, can he throw the football, or is he just going to be a running threat? Well,
Right.
Todd Monken has, implemented essentially the air raid style of offense. That's what they do. And it previously was not advantageous to the pass catchers for the Ravens, but things have changed. It's not anymore just Lamar to Mark Andrews, for a big play down the field. You are seeing Lamar distributing the football and adding on the addition of him being such a threat. So Browns defense is going to have a big time test on Sunday, but you're going up against, you've got two of the best defenses in the National Football League. I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see how that plays out. But before we get into that, guys, head on over to Lakewood to get your hands on the best pizza in all of Northeast Ohio. They do it right at Angelo's. They start out with a buttery crust. They do double layer toppings. It's great in the restaurant, at home, even just as great the next day. So be sure to head on over to Angelo's today. Dustin, let's talk about that. Let's talk about our keys to a victory in this game. Now, we can say with certainty, if you control the time of possession, you're going to win the game. If you don't turn the ball over, you're going to feel better about winning. But outside of those kind of obvious things that we seem to list every week, what are your keys to a victory going into Baltimore?
Well, I think we have to establish the run. And I think we talked a little bit this on our Sunday show. with Pierre Strong, with Ford and Kareem all getting a different, unique type of style of running that they can bring to this offense, I think you can keep that defense of the Baltimore Ravens kind of honest in some ways, right? If you can run the ball, even if it's 3 or 4 yards, and just really have some long sustained drives, for me, that's probably going to be the key. Is that the Browns make some 6, 7 minute drives during this football game, and honestly keep our defense fresh and
Yeah.
really able to go out there and kind of be that a, attacking style defense that they need to be. So those are the two things that I look for, making sure our defense is well rested. They get some time to actually play some really good defense in this game and don't become winded because there's a lot of 3 and outs. I look for a long sustained drives. I think that's going to be the key for the Browns in this game. If they can string along 2 or 3 long sustained drives in this game, I think it will be a close game and a competitive game. And I think the Browns have it in them, and they
Yeah.
just have to stick to their game plan. I don't think we should get too cute on offense. I don't think we really need to expand the playbook to a point where we have to try to catch Baltimore off guard. Let's be honest. Harbaugh knows who we are. He knows our defense. He knows the players on there. He knows a little bit about Deshaun, obviously from him, being over with the Texans and stuff. But I don't think we have to get too elaborate. I think we just have to play our game, right? Let's just
Yeah.
play our game. And honestly, the only concern that really jumps out at me is the offensive line. Can they
Sure.
keep Deshaun Watson upright in this game? Give him the time that he needs to throw the ball and get those plays open. Because if we can do that, I think we have a shot at winning this game. I think this team has a little more confidence coming out of this with Deshaun coming back. Uh, I just really feel good and confident going in this game. Do I know we can win it? Yes. Do I think we can lose it? Yes. But I really think it's going to come down to those long sustained drives for this team specifically, and just keeping Lamar Jackson on the sidelines. I think, and I would say the same thing as Week 1 against Joe Burrow. Right? What was
Yeah.
our best asset? Joe Burrow was sitting on the sidelines. Right? We were having long sustained drives, and we were controlling that football game. And guess what? Joe Burrow was not doing, winning and getting out there and having success on offense. So that's my
Mhm.
take. It's just you've got to win the time of possession, really, in some ways.
Yeah. I mean, and it's obvious. We always talk about, if you control the clock and you don't turn the ball over, you can stay in almost any game. I mean, the
Yeah,
Browns have shown that, every single week for years, really. If you can control the clock with the assets that you have, you're going to be in a better position to win that football game.
true.
Um, However, I think I want to turn over to the defensive side of the ball, and what this defense needs to do is you can't let this team run on you, whether that's Lamar Jackson or whether
Yeah,
that is Gus Edwards, or whoever is running the ball, Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell, who had a great game last week. They do have some threats in the run game. But remember, this is no J.K. Dobbins. This is a different type of run game, similarly to that of the Cleveland Browns, where you've got a lot of guys that can do some really good things, but you don't have your Nick Chubb. They don't have their J.K. Dobbins. So I think if you can stop the run and make Lamar throw the football, and I know that I just sat here a moment ago and I said, credit to Todd Monken, who has been able to get the most out of Lamar Jackson and his pass catchers. But I mean, let's go through these pass catchers. You got Zay Flowers, Nelson Aguilar, Rashad Bateman, Devin Duvernay, OBJ, and then of course Mark Andrews. It's not like I'm saying Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I'm not
right.
reading names like that off. You've got a lot of really solid players, but I wouldn't say that they have an elite pass catching core. Make them throw the ball. And I think that's always been the recipe for beating Lamar Jackson. I think that we can anticipate a little bit of a spy defense on Lamar, whether that's JOK, Grant. I mean, that's what Andrew Berry and this team constructed defensively, is to stop Lamar Jackson. That they go out, they draft players who are athletic, fast, rangy to be able to stop these dual threat quarterbacks. Allow these players to do their jobs. So if you can stop the run, which the Browns are very good at doing right now, and make Lamar throw the ball, assuming that you have a lead and you're not down,
Right.
2-3 scores, you will be in this football game. So I think that's it's on the list. But something to note, we got to go through the injuries here. We obviously know that Jedrick Wills went down last week. However, some good news on that front. It
Yes.
wasn't as severe as that we all thought it was going to be. It was
Correct.
carted off. You could see the look on his face. But he is on IR, and he is expected to be back, but will be sidelined for at least 4 weeks. On the same note, they have put Cameron Mitchell also on the IR, and he's been playing great. Great slot corner. So he's out at least 4 games with a hamstring issue. Greg Newsome missed week 9 and has been, kind of on and off in practice this week. So not sure if he's going to be able to go. So you are a little bit depleted there in your defensive secondary, but we know that they bring in James Prochet, the receiver, return guy, who looked really good. The Browns did waive Devin Asiasi, but they added Trinity Benson, a receiver, safety Vincent Gray, and offensive lineman Justin Murray. So just a couple of points there to keep an eye on. But you talk about this offensive line, Dustin, and what it means for this Cleveland Browns team. You are now down your left tackle, and questionable with your right tackle with DeJuan Jones. He's been questionable as well. So it all comes down to, can this offensive line, no matter who it is, whether it's James Hudson, whether it's DeJuan Jones or whoever, can they step up and can they protect Deshaun Watson? We know that Deshaun Watson likes to scramble. We know he kind of panics sometimes in the pocket. Can he navigate the pocket? Can he get outside of it, make plays? But can we do it and play disciplined football while protecting our franchise quarterback?
Yeah, and I think on the injury report, is it who's out with concussion? Is it Goodwin? Is he out with
Yeah,
the?
good one. Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Marquise Goodwin probably won't be in there as well. So obviously, maybe you might see like Tillman or some other people getting a little more playing time in this game. But interesting enough, the Browns really only have to look to the Pittsburgh Steelers Ravens game earlier this year, and literally what the Steelers did to the Ravens late in that game was just kind of a recipe that the Browns could follow. I mean, I think when I started watching the game, it was 5-2, and I'm like, this game is
Mhm.
ugly. It is just god awful, ugly game, and literally the game at the end just turned because that Steelers defense forced Lamar Jackson to throw the football, and it created a turnover. Then the next thing you know, the Steelers score, and they're right back in that football game because they forced Lamar Jackson into a situation he was not comfortable with, and he felt like he had to force the ball to keep the offense going and keeping the drive alive, and it fell right into the Steelers' hands. I think Schwartz is smart in that sense that he knows that that is something that he can prey on with Lamar Jackson and hopefully have him make a mistake, right? I mean, that's obviously what's going to be the key to this game because I really do think the Browns need to get a turnover here somewhere in this game to create some momentum or some kind of key play that will happen. Do I think it will happen? Yes, I do think the Browns will get a turnover in this game. I don't know if it'll come from a Lamar Jackson one or just some other type of turnover, but I think the Browns need to be aggressive. And I think they need to be aggressive from whistle to whistle, from this when the game starts to when the game ends. I think they just really have to have their foot on the gas and realize you got to get to 2-2 in the division. I think if we win this game, we go 2-2 in the division. We then come back home to a team of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who I think are absolutely beatable at home. And then, by the way, you're looking pretty darn good as a football team because guess what? We don't have to look at Cincinnati till the end of the year,
Yeah.
right? We got them early when they were down and not looking like the team they are now. I don't want to play the Bengals right now. They're
No
hot,
thanks.
right? Yeah, but guess what? I'm glad the Ravens have to play them. I'm glad the Steelers have to go play them and let them beat each other up and let us get our momentum going and not play them till the end of the year. Because right now, what's crazy enough, Allie, if the playoffs were tomorrow, every single team in the AFC North makes the playoffs. That's
That's
boggling.
crazy. That
That
is
is
crazy.
that is boggling to me, right? But what does that say? Our division's really good, and there's a lot of really good defenses in this division, and they play well against other teams. Here's the other thing: the Browns. I think it's 2-5 that Stefanski is against the Ravens. I mean, he hasn't had the best success, but he does know the Ravens, so I do think that gives us a little bit of advantage. What I find very interesting about the Ravens is teams in the AFC North and some teams in the AFC have more success because they see Lamar a lot, and then Lamar goes and plays an NFC team and he blows them out. It's
Yeah.
just such an interesting dynamic. If you don't see him a lot and you don't scheme for him, you don't have a really good recipe against him in a football game, which is interesting to me. That even though you're an NFC team, you wouldn't be able to recognize and look at tape of what other AFC teams have done against Lamar. But I think the other thing is I also think we need to play a pretty clean, non-penalized game here.
You're right.
I think we got we had some penalties last week against the Cardinals. They killed some drives, but we can't do that against the Baltimore Ravens because that will be a detriment. We'll give the ball right back to Lamar in the offense. I don't think we can do that in this football game. I think we need to play a very clean, disciplined game and reduce the penalties to as little as possible because that's what's going to be the difference in this game as far as that goes, as penalties and how long the Browns can stay on the field and keep their defense fresh on the sidelines.
Yeah, most definitely. Guys, whether it is sophisticated suburban living, luxury downtown digs, or senior housing, K&D, the largest property management company in Northeast Ohio, has a perfect home for everyone. K&D is your one-stop shop for housing in the region with apartments and amenities for everyone, including residential, commercial, retail, and also corporate housing. Find your dream home at K&D. Visit knd.com to get started. That is the letter K, the word and, the letter D.com. Dustin, we talked about Myles Garrett, some of the comments he made. He was on with Kay Adams and made mention that he wants to be a Cleveland Brown for the rest of his career. What do you make of that?
I'm not surprised by that, actually.
Yeah,
this is a guy. This is a guy that is absolutely adored and loved in Cleveland. This is a player that the Haslams doubled down 200% when all the stuff happened with his suspension, right? We remember that. D. Haslam came out very aggressive and said, no, he's our guy. We're going to support him. We'll get through this. He's such a community person. And I think the message was said, Allie, you and I are both big Cavaliers fans, but the fact that he put down a monetary payment towards being a minority owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers says all I need to know about Myles Garrett and his future. And by the way, he got a standing ovation Sunday night at the Cavaliers game when he showed up there, which I thought was really cool. But here's what's interesting. We have had some of these former alumni on the Browns that, by the way, didn't grow up in Northeast Ohio and has made their home Cleveland, right? And I think Myles Garrett is going to become one of those guys that some of these guys have said, hey, this is a great place. We had Mike Pruitt on a couple weeks ago from Chicago, right? And what did he say? Yeah, the traffic sucks. I don't like living in Chicago. I told my parents I'd never be back, and I never went back, and I lived the rest of my life in Cleveland. So Cleveland gets a bad rap, but I tell you what, there's a lot of former and current Browns players that love living there, and I think it's and I think why they love living there, Allie, and we know this is because we are diehard fans, and I saw this in Seattle. You have a city like Seattle that's 2,400 miles away from Cleveland, the furthest NFL city away from Cleveland, and there are thousands of fans going to that game to root on their team. So what I'm saying is this city loves and is so passionate for their sports, let it be the Browns, Cavaliers, or the Guardians, but they adore their fans. And I don't think there's very many other cities in America, Allie, that if the team loses on Sunday, it changes the entire psychological thought process of those people on Monday. And I think this city really loves their team. They're very passionate, and that's why we won the team back and why we got awarded a new team. This city loves their sports, and they always have. And I will say it till the day I die. This is the most passionate, loyal sports town in America. It is. It just truly is. And I love that Myles Garrett wants to stay here, and I think he'll be adored for the rest of his life and his time in Cleveland.
Yeah, most definitely. I agree.
That was a lot. Sorry.
That was a lot, but you know what? That's what we're here for. You've got a microphone, you got a platform. Let's hear it. No, I thought it was very refreshing to hear, and it was said with so much enthusiasm, and he was so confident in what he was saying that it's hard not to believe him. Now, look, I think that everybody has a price, right? And I would hate to imagine that at some point, if the Browns don't get things figured out, that they would have to sell some assets, because you mentioned it. Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb, man, those two guys are absolutely beloved in Cleveland. What they have done not only for the community, for the team, for charities involved, like they are everything you want a Cleveland Brown to be. So that is, I love seeing him on a national platform, just giving Cleveland a little bit of, giving them a little bit of praise. Look at everybody right here. Did you happen to see my story? I said the dumbest thing of all time today. I said one of the dumbest things I've ever said.
Oh, your story on Instagram?
Yeah. I did not check your Instagram. I said one of the dumbest things I've ever said today. So I was working. Obviously, I have a day job, and I was on the phone with a guy. His name was Sam H. I'm not gonna say his last name. And halfway through the conversation, I forgot what his name was. So I got on my email and I just typed in like Sam H. So towards the end of the conversation, I went to say, "Great talking to you, Sam," but I went
No, you
Sam and
said
H, and
Sam
I said,
H.
no, worse. I said, "Great talking to you, Ham." I called him Ham. And then it gets worse. It gets worse, Dustin. So then I got flustered and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." So I went to say, "Sorry that I just called you
Oh
Ham.
no.
Like, I'm so sorry, Sam." But instead of saying, "Sorry, Sam," it came out, "Sammy Ham." So I called him Ham and then I said, "Sammy Ham," instead of "Sorry, Sam." So that was my afternoon. It's been quite a day. So eat it up
I'll,
here in the
I
comments.
I will never forget. Allie has these moments in public,
I
and she
do.
doesn't. And it's funny, and I laughed. But Allie was talking about she had a Shania Twain shirt on, and
Yep,
someone said,
classic.
"Yeah," someone said, "Hey, nice shirt." And instead of Allie saying, "Thank you, I appreciate that," she goes, "Man, I feel like a
Feel
woman,"
like a
and
woman.
and
I
she
looked him dead in the eye and I said, "Man, I feel like a woman." Like I sang it
now
like that.
I got to tell you, if I didn't know Allie, I would be intimidated. Be like, "Great."
All right. Cool. Good for you, ma'am. Yeah, no, I just do that stuff sometimes. So that was my afternoon. Dustin, before we welcome on our next guest, can you tell our friends about Lorello Vineyards, what they've got going on?
Guys, if you haven't been to Lorello Vineyards, you got to get out there and try out the Here We Go Brownies wine. Guys, how about this? A few dollars of every one of these bottles goes to the Greater Cleveland Food Bank to feed the hungry of Cleveland. They're getting ready to do their ice wine here soon, Allie. The ice time of year to pick the grapes and get that going. But just take a drive out there. But really, guys, what's really cool is Lorello Vineyards and the Here We Go Brownie Show have teamed up to give away a tailgate experience. That's right. This is for the Pittsburgh Steelers game, the Pittsburgh Steelers game against the Browns. You'll get to enjoy all the festivities there at Kennel 2, take in the game, and get 2 tickets in a great location, lower bowl to the Pittsburgh Steelers game, valued at several $100s. But thanks to Larry and his family over there at Lorello Vineyards for donating that prize. That'll be amazing. And one lucky fan is going to be able to have a great experience at the greatest rivalry game against those Pittsburgh Steelers.
There you go. There
Party
you
with
have it.
me.
The party with Larry. And I will say this just from experience, it is fun partying with Larry. He's a good time. He's a really good time.
Hey, we invented wine partying with Larry. We invented wine
We did.
partying with Larry. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We did. We got a question here, Dustin. How do we sign up? How do we make that happen? Why don't you tell our
So
listeners?
yeah, so go out to Lorello Vineyards on Facebook. There is a link out there. All you have to do is follow, tag a friend, and you can do that on Instagram at the Lorello Vineyards Instagram page. You just need to be following us. By the way, you get extra entries if you do that on our Here We Go Brownies Instagram page, Twitter, or that. You get extra entries wherever you do those follows at. So follow us on all of our socials. Obviously, we are Go Brownies Live on Twitter. Here We Go Brownies Live on Instagram. And obviously, Here We Go Brownies on Facebook.
Yep. So be sure to do that because let me tell you, it'll be a good time. It'll be a really, really good time. Just a couple of other things here that maybe we didn't get to. Let's take a look ahead, Dustin, at I just want to talk a little bit about the defense a little bit more as we go into Baltimore, right? You mentioned them being a little bit more open. Oh, there's the cat. He's here. A little bit more, we've run a lot of man. Browns defense is comfortable operating in man defense. They're a little bit more uncomfortable operating in zone. Do you expect them to kind of shift their philosophy as we go into Baltimore just based on the threat that Lamar Jackson is? The running threat specifically.
Yeah. I think more of a hybrid. I don't think they're going to go away from what their bread and butter is with man. But I do think because of JOK and the folks back there with their high IQ, I think if it need be, we can hybrid into that situation based on the run and come out of man. So I'm going to say a hybrid approach. I don't think they're going to totally go away from that. But I
Abandoned.
think,
Yeah.
yeah, they're not going to abandon it by any means. But I think they will adjust in game. By the way, this is one thing that I think Schwartz is really good at. He's good at adjusting, and he understands what you need to do on defense. Even in the Colts game where things got a little rough, he adjusted in game as that game went on. So
Sure.
I can see that happening in this game as well. So I think he'll adjust in game and we'll be just fine.
Well, I don't know about you, but I like saving money and I like watching the games from my couch. So be sure to head on over to clevelandfurniturecompany.com to learn more about the Cleveland Furniture Company. They're a true family business based in Cleveland. And by the way, they buy direct from the factory so they can save you money. So this next interview is brought to you from the couch by Cleveland Furniture Company.
From the Couch is brought to you by the Cleveland Furniture Company.
There you have it. Let's welcome on Gab. Gab, how we doing? Thanks for taking the time.
Hey, I totally planned this sitting on my couch for your couch plug.
Perfect. Beautiful. Love that. Is it comfy? How you doing?
Oh yeah, it really is. I just got done working out not too long ago, and I'm sitting under a heated blanket.
I'm sitting on a heating pad because that's how this show goes.
Oh yeah, I totally get it. It's my new thing.
So
Thanks for
Gab,
taking time for us. This is great.
Yeah,
yes.
no problem.
So Gab, I know you're a big runner. So did you run outside or did you go to the gym? Because I know if you're running outside, it's going to be really cold.
Yeah, you're gonna think I'm crazy. I ran in the complete dark with my friend. We put like these headlamps on, and
Oh yeah.
I took my dog. It was kind of creepy because you could see the eyes of the deer, and they would just be like looking at you. But it was exhilarating. This is good running weather, actually.
Yeah, because you don't get too overheated, right? Because your body's it's cold and
Yeah, it was so.
Yeah,
I'm a terrible runner.
I do a turkey run every year, a 5K, and I'm freezing when I go.
Oh,
and by the end,
it usually is pretty cold. But yeah, by the end, you get up. Yeah,
you're fine. So
nice, very nice.
I just don't run. I'm not good at it. And I'll do something else. But Gab, I'll turn it over to you. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about what you got going on? I know you're working a lot with Hanford. Talk to us. Paint the picture.
Sure. Yeah, I'm bouncing around as usual. I'm a freelancer, so I'm usually got a few. What's the phrase? Pots bubbling, or whatever.
Sure.
I don't know. I got different gigs I'm parachuting into on a weekly basis, filling in as, if you need a host, or I do a lot of feature work with Channel 19, for example, and those are kind of fun. A lot of them are on location, so I get to go to some fun places and do sort of interviews that are not hard news, which is way better for me. I learned early on I'm just not a hard news person. And then with our podcasts, we've got a lot cooking there, and I help with our Reflog show. I co-host that show, and then the Hanford Dixon show. We do a lot with Hanford every week, and booking guests, and of course going over Browns games. I told Dustin, I was like, I hope we don't have to rehash the Browns the whole time, because I'm so Brownsed out sometimes, where I'm like, we're all saying the same thing and going over the same topics and this, that. Sometimes it's tough to do it 24/7, but I'm pulling for our Browns. I really do hope we do well this coming week. That'd be really great.
Well, and I was going to say, you had a good friend of our program, Eric, on a couple days ago. Both runners, right? And you guys had Ozzie Newsome on there, and I thought that was really interesting to get to even have Ozzie Newsome come on the week of a game, a big game like that.
He doesn't do media. He does not.
He does not do.
Hanford has this little end, and he even told us, he's like, I'll give you guys 10 minutes. And then we were all stressed because his freaking camera broke. Like, he didn't know how to work the computer very well. No offense, Ozzie, if you're watching.
He's not.
I get the feeling he's just not that technically savvy after we had him on, because it was the video dropped, and then we had to coach him on how to do it on his phone, and he was great. But I guess he just doesn't really do a ton of media stuff, so it was cool that he gave us some of his time. Him and Hanford just roast each other and whatnot.
Oh yeah, they're funny together. And then of course you get Eric You get Eric in the room, and it's like it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. So we've had them on. We haven't had Ozzy on, but we a fair share of Hanford, Eric Metcalf. We've talked with all of them, and every time we do, it's always some ordeal. It's always something funny. They're always going on about something. What's it like to work with them physically? Like to manage Hanford Dixon. What is that like?
It's funny. Hanford and I have really gotten a really strong rapport, and we just are. I love Hanford because he's so professional and he prepares, and he's also just this goofy, outgoing guy that him and I just bruise each other all the time, just trying to make fun of each other. So I like that though, because he's kind of adopted me like everyone else. Like when Eric comes in and he's BSing with him also, like in the commercial breaks they were going over there 40 times, and Hanford was like, well, I clocked a 4.3 or does that sound right? 4.3. Yeah. And then he's like, and then they asked me to redo it. I don't know if someone didn't get the time. He was like, I'm not redoing it. And then Eric was like, well, it doesn't matter. It still wasn't faster than mine. So going back and forth. And it's funny that all these years later, he's like, it don't matter. Like mine was faster than yours. So yeah, it's fun to be in good company and hear their old stories and just get put back in history about when they were in their heyday kind of thing. And they are great storytellers. Hanford is just he's got a whole bag of stories too, and just the whole dog pound story. Yeah. I know we all know it, but every time he tells it, I'm like, I can't believe you were the one. I can't believe that was you. So it's cool.
Well, it's funny, like, I've obviously come to the studio a couple times with you guys getting ready to record, and I love, like you said, you're one of those, and Allie does the same thing, and she's done it in person to him, and you do it as well. You poke at him because he's always giving you he's always snipping at you, right? And I just love, and you walked in and you're like, oh, I see you dressed so professionally today. You wore your flip-flops, Hanford. I'm glad you really prepared yourself to come to the show today. And it's funny, like, because he's always jabbing, and and it's just, and he likes
about that. I was like, nice flip-flops.
And it's just funny to see, like you said, he's got the demeanor, like you said, to have fun and not take himself too serious.
Yeah,
and I think
he's
sometimes
an easygoing guy, and he's easy to work with, which is cool.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, there's the cat. He wants to be part of it as well. So you've got your hands full. You're busy. You're involved with a lot of things in Cleveland, whether it's the Browns, the Guardians. You're all over the place. How do you manage that? Is there a point where it becomes stressful, or do you enjoy every aspect of being involved with sports?
Yeah, I've really grown to love it. I always think, like, should I just get a full-time job and just do one thing? But every time I panic at the idea of that. Like, I really tried to do news full-time in 2018. And I lasted 3 months. I was like, I can't give up everything else to do this. I think if it was something I was extremely passionate about, but the millennial in me was like, I can't do this to tell people that the traffic cones moved at 3 a.m. I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't know how news people are just built different. So yeah, I've actually enjoyed spreading my wings and getting to work with so many different people, because I've actually been blessed to work with a lot of awesome people, just good bare bones people. A lot of them have become really good friends of mine from like working with the Browns and working at the Guardians, especially. A lot of those people are like best friends for me now. And the seasons do kind of ebb and flow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like when baseball lets off, then it's more football. And, fall is also more, I work a lot with my nonprofit in schools this time of year, because school's back where it's not in the summer, it's back now. And then, yeah, it's funny because it does have a bit of a flow. I think where I have natural PTSD is like, I'm always worried I have to be somewhere, because with the freelance schedule with feature segments, for example, those tend to change a lot. Like a client cancels, or they change the time, or they said, hey, we need you Thursday. And it's a lot of it is like last minute sort of. So that's the hardest part of my schedule, is rearranging a lot. It gets really hard to plan things in advance, because I'm like, I could commit to that. But I just don't know what's going to happen by the time that day rolls around. So let's just hope for the best. So sometimes that's a little bit of a juggle, but in general, I think I enjoy nurturing a number of my interests, and sports is a fun atmosphere. I think that works better for me than, like I said, trying to do the news. It's worked out so far.
Well, and you think, Gab, because you being an athlete, being a runner, do you think that just naturally comes more? It becomes easier for you just because you were in sports, you were around sports from your youth to your adulthood. Like it just becomes more natural for you to go into that space and talk about it. You think?
Yeah, I think that's what kind of put me there to begin with, because I was one of those people I didn't know what I wanted to do. In fact, I always say I think I was one of those people who probably could have benefited from either not going to college or at least taking a year off to figure out what I wanted to do. Because I don't think I'm such a hands-on person. I'd be happy to be like a laborer or something. Like I don't think I can do 9 to 5. Me doing baseball, working outside, just I love that. um and not being in a studio for the whole day, but
Yeah.
I love my little hit pop and then leave. I don't know. But I do think being an athlete has also helped, because that sort of gave me some direction. Because I had a teacher who was like, well, because I'm coming at the end of college, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I just majored in communications, which is pretty general. It wasn't very specific. I didn't know how to shoot with a camera or edit or write, you know, not to say anything against John Carroll University, a fine institution, by the way, especially the business school. But just at the time, it's not a broadcast school, so to speak.
Right.
So, but I had a teacher say, well, you've been such a competitive athlete, and you are obviously outgoing and like to chat. Maybe that's your ticket right there. Why don't you just start there? So that's how I, mulled over the idea of doing that. And I was like, sure, I think I'll just try for that. And it's been fun. It's been fun ever since. It did work out.
Well, we did get this comment from Johnny that you can sing as well. Is that true?
Yes, it is.
You know what? I was singing today, and I feel like too much. Like
a little too much.
I was blasting in the car, you guys, today, because around this time last year, and I'm getting real paranoid if I'll be like, oh, I have a tickle in my throat, I have a cough, oh no, what's happening? So around this time last year, I got sick, and I lost my speaking voice for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was terrifying. I could not speak. I was powering through a few jobs, and then I had to take off a couple because I literally just couldn't speak. And then also I lost a whole chunk of my falsetto I thought it was going to be, okay, maybe a month, maybe 2 months. It was seriously like almost 8 or 9 months. I went to the
wow.
ENT.
Oh, man.
They looked at my vocal cords and everything.
Oh, wow.
Which was a really uncomfortable thing. They stick it up your nose and stuff. And yeah, they were just super inflamed and not the right color. There wasn't permanent damage, but I could not have prepared myself for not singing for that long. So today I'm just letting it rip, seeing how's this note going for me?
What were we singing? What was going on?
Who don't make me close one more door. That one.
You're not gonna believe this. I have a story.
So I was doing.
I'm not even kidding you, Gab. I almost interrupted you a minute ago to say that I'm not a singer. I can't, trust me when I tell you, I cannot sing. However, when I'm in the car, I let it blast.
Oh, yeah.
I let it rip. And last year, I injured myself singing. And do you know what it was? It was Whitney Houston.
Oh,
so that's pretty funny.
That's a real thing too. I have a friend of mine who said she blew out her voice trying there is technique involved.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, I have not blown out my voice like that, but I have, whatever it was, I got sick, whatever weird thing. And then my voice never came back. So now I've been trying to stretch and just see where it's at. So I was belting literally my voice is so tense right now because I'm I went to him today. But yeah, I really do enjoy singing, and I'm really trying to get into the studio before the year ends. I'm maybe I could sneak in one song just to get done before the new year hits. That would be a cool thing to get done. We'll see. we'll see if I can have
Is there a certain genre you like to sing or like record in general, or like you lean towards?
I just like I like Motown and soulful stuff. I think what I've already done is a little more poppy, but I would like to lean into have someone produce something for me that where the music sounds a little more bluesy, soulful.
Mm.
So, yeah, that's kind of on my list.
Well, I was to say, I have a great friend who's a blues musician. If you want John Namath, look him up. Nemeth. He's from Boise, Idaho. He lives in Memphis now, but he got quoted in the Rolling Stones at one point that his voice is a national treasure. And I don't know if he plays a harmonica better or sings better, but look him up. His name is John Namath. But
Cool.
he is phenomenal. He's great. Yeah, he's won multiple blues awards, and he jokes in the blues scene. If you go brass, you've made it in blues. You don't go platinum, you don't go gold. If you go brass if you sell like 10,000 albums, you've made it in blues, because people don't sell millions of albums.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's funny. Yeah. But yeah, look up John Namath. He's amazing.
Okay,
And
cool. I really will.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's so cool. Well, Gab, it was great talking to you. Thanks for taking the time. It was fun to learn about the insight of what goes into what you're currently doing. Just because I know a lot of our listeners, we've had Hanford on a couple of times, so kind of the behind the scenes. I know our listeners appreciate it.
Here's the behind the scenes. He wears flip flops, and this man loves Diet Coke.
Cool. There you have it, guys. There you have it. And we'll end on that.
Great. Well, thank you guys. Keep up the great work with the podcast, and I'll see you on Twitter.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks, Gab.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Take
Bye.
That's funny. There you have it about Hanford Dixon.
Flip flops,
guys,
Diet Coke.
Yeah, flip flops and Diet Coke. But if you don't have stadium mustard in your kitchen this season, you're doing it wrong. The iconic brand, the iconic taste that's beloved from ballparks to backyards and everywhere in between. Stadium mustard is a smooth brown mustard, rich in both taste and tradition. It is loved by millions, so be sure to head on over to stadiummustard.com to shop now. I want to give a shout out also to our friends over at Cleveland Whiskey. I've got a little whiskey in my glass tonight. I'm a whiskey girl now. I'm
Which, by the way, she
is,
never was a whiskey girl before. True story.
No, I wasn't. And then we partner with Cleveland Whiskey, and it's a game changer. But whether it's a stressful day, which I had one of those, or after Cleveland Browns win, whatever the emotion is, kick back with some Cleveland Whiskey on your Cleveland Furniture Company recliner. And they put their heart and soul into their product. It's whiskeys finished with woods other than oak, and it's not only in a barrel, by the way. So natural flavors without sugar, syrup, no artificial coloring. You can buy it now at your local Northeast Ohio liquor store, or head on over to clevelandwhiskey.com to shop today. Dustin, let's go ahead and get into it here. We've got some games to pick. So let me pull up my
First and foremost, how did I do last week?
So I got you. Now currently I am up. I am now 4-3-2 on the season.
And I'm 3-4-2.
4-2 on the season.
Right.
So let's go ahead and get into it. But
I got to be strategic now.
You do have to be strategic, but that's okay. We'll get through it.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Go ahead. You got something?
Oh, no, I was just say, did you watch the elections in Ohio yesterday? It was a big day in Ohio. That was a lot of things going.
I don't live in Ohio, so no, I did not.
Yeah.
But this segment, guys, is brought to you by our friends over at Circle K.
Browns fans, get ready for a sizzling sensation that's about to heat up your taste buds. Circle K is bringing you a hot deal this football season. Introducing Circle K's Hot Chicken Wings. And the best part, the price is as hot as the wings themselves. Pick up 6 wings for just $5.99 at your local Circle K today. So what are you waiting for? Gather your friends, your family, and anyone else who craves the ultimate wing experience. Circle K, where every deal is hotter than ever before. Here we go, Brownies. Only at Circle K.
By the way, got to draw quick attention to this. Josh Leonard. A couple of years ago, that was the highlight of my life. So it's all downhill from here. All right, let's get into it, Dustin. Tomorrow night. This is gross, but Panthers at Bears.
Wow, that's
gross. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Did the Panthers win last week?
The Panthers. What did the Panthers do?
No, the Bears didn't win either, did they?
No, they did not. They did not.
Neither team won. If I'm thinking,
this is really bad. Like, this is a really bad game.
You know what? I'm just going to give it to the Bears at home. This is a crapshoot. I'm just going with the home team. Bears.
Yeah, okay. I think I agree. Let's go Bears on this. No, I'm not. Give me the Panthers. Give me the
Woo!
Panthers.
All right. I'm a
Yeah,
Bears fan this
I-
week. Let's go Bears.
I think both teams are really, really nasty. Colts at Patriots.
Gosh, this is tough. Well, the Patriots, I don't know what's happened with the hell of the Patriots.
Yeah, they're weird. I have no idea. No idea.
But I'm gonna go Patriots just because it's a Gillette. I think I'm gonna go Patriots. I don't know why, but I'm gonna go Patriots. I don't know why.
I think I agree with that. I'm going to go with that too. Browns at Ravens.
Ravens. I'm being
I
honest. I think
know. And look,
hey,
we are obviously a Browns podcast.
we're told to take the rose-colored glasses off or the brown and
Yep.
orange glasses off and give it.
Yep.
That's what Josh Cribb told us. Take them off.
He did tell us that, and we're obviously a Browns podcast. We love the Cleveland Browns, but we are competing here. So I am looking to win this competition. So in my heart, I'm going to say, well, in my head, I'm going to say, go Browns. I love you so much. But in my heart, because I'm competing with you, Dustin, I don't want you to beat me here. So I'm going to go Ravens as well. Packers at Steelers.
I actually think the Packers can put enough together to win this football game. I'm going to go Packers.
Yeah,
I don't like Love, but I just think they have a better offense.
Yeah, I think Steelers offense is really just gross. But it's in Pittsburgh, but 1:00, I'll give it to the Packers. Niners at Jags.
I don't know what's going on in the Niners, man. Jags they're kind
Jags
of
are
not.
tough.
Yeah, but the Jags aren't playing really good football either at this. They were started out kind of hot. So it's like, you know what? I think is everybody healthy back for the Niners, by the way? Is Debo back?
Let me
Is everybody
look.
back? Because that's going to
I don't
really
know.
determine that. And is Purdy back? Is Brock back? Is he
Yeah,
good?
Brock is back. Hang on, I'm looking at their depth chart here. Brock Purdy's back. Christian McCaffrey, Debo's good.
Okay,
Trent Williams is the only one with questionable status.
Give me the Niners on the road with that defense.
Yeah.
I think they can take
Yeah,
that.
I agree. Agreed. Saints at Vikings.
Vikings. I believe in Josh Dobbs. I'm going Vikings. Although Saints, I mean, Derek Carr has been playing well. I mean,
Yeah.
full disclosure, he has been playing well. I think it'll be a close game, but I think you got a little magic going on there with Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, I agree, but I am going to go with the Saints here. I'm going to go Saints. Texans at Bengals.
Ooh, well, CJ's playing well. Bengals are playing well. As much as I hate to say it, this could be an upset game of the week, and I'd be all for it. But I do think the Bengals are. But I think the Bengals are playing really tough, and they're really hard to beat right now. I got to go Bengals, unfortunately.
I'm going to go Bengals here, but I do agree that this is one that would be a fun sight to see if CJ could do what CJ does. Titans at Buccaneers. Will Levis starting at quarterback against Baker Mayfield.
I got to tell you, I like what I saw from him last week, by the way. The new quarterback at Tennessee. I really liked what I saw from him. I think this is one where this is going to come down to coaching. And I think the better coach is for the Titans. I'm going to go Titans with the road win here.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Bucks at home. Really, really tough loss last week. I'm going to go with the Bucks bouncing back here. Lions at Chargers.
Chargers. I don't know what the hell's going on with them either. They're all over the place.
All over the place.
I'm gonna go Lions. Lions get a road win here out west.
Yep.
I
just don't trust Brandon Staley. I just don't trust him for anything. I'm going to go Lions here as well. Falcons at Cardinals.
Oh, Falcons. Yeah, Cardinals are garbage.
I don't know. You got Kyler starting this week against.
I don't care. Kyler Murray should not be playing quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. He should have taken a baseball contract. Sorry, I'm just going to put it out there. And by the way, it's his week 1 coming back. He's going to be rusty. So
yeah.
Rusty.
I mean, I'm going Falcons too, but just putting it out there. Giants at Cowboys.
Giants, Cowboys. By the way, the Cowboys played a great game last week, even though
they did. Cowboys at Seahawks.
Cowboys at Seahawks, you said?
Commanders at Seahawks.
Oh, Commanders at Seahawks. Okay, I thought you said Cowboys. Seahawks, they get it back together out in the Northwest.
Yeah.
It's a tough place to play. They get that game out there on the West
Yep.
Coast.
Agreed. Jets, Sunday Night Football, barf, Jets at Raiders.
I don't know what to think of the Raiders now. Like it's weird, right? Like now
So
they're
the
all
way
this.
the way I see it is whenever you fire your head coach,
Oh, of
the
course.
next
Right.
week the team always plays really, really well, and then they like go back to who they were. So, man, I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Jets.
I'm going Raiders. Let's go Raider
Okay.
Nation. Raider Nation.
All right, and then last but not least, Broncos at Bills.
Bills.
Yeah, Bills for sure.
Well, the Bills, I
Bills.
think, really. The Bills kind of. I mean, I would love for the Broncos to win here because it helps the Browns on the playoff implications. But I think the Bills are going to try to right the ship here, and the Buffalo is a tough place to go in. And if it's weather related, it could be even worse. So
Yeah, that's true. So there you have it. So we shall see. Before we go ahead and wrap, Dustin, I want you to tell our listeners about what we've got coming up here in March.
Well, it's cold here now. It's in the 40s, and I don't like that, but it's wintertime. But guys, join us on the Browns Fan Cruise. Go to brownsfanscruise.com to get your tickets. Join Allie and I as we'll be hosting stuff from the ship, from the Bahamas, and all those great places out there as we visit the islands. But guess what? More importantly, you get to hang out with 17 former Browns alumni, get to hear all those stories and be a part of a lot of cool segments. This is the first annual inaugural Browns Fan Cruise. So join us. We'll have a lot of fun. It's going to be a great, I think it's like something like 900,000. It's a lot of Browns fans. Anyway, great time to get out of the city where it's cold and enjoy the warm weather down
There you
in
have
the
it.
Caribbean.
Sounds pretty nice right about now, if you ask me. So be sure to check
Well,
that out and learn how you can get there.
Allie's got a heating pad, so obviously Allie's cold. So.
I do. I'm not even joking. Like I'm sitting on a heating pad.
Okay. I'm just gonna put this out there. That looks like a deluxe heating. That looks like a deluxe heating pad. That ain't like the little one, like the little plastic one you get from like Rite Aid. No, that looks like a deluxe freaking heating pad.
Well, you know what? With everything I do, go big or go home. If you're gonna get the heating pad, get the nice one. No, this was actually so a couple of sorry, David, but I'm about to say, but a couple of weeks ago, we were in Boone, North Carolina, which if you've never been, by the way, like one of the best cities in America. So much fun. We go out there all the time. We're actually leaving tomorrow to go to Boone, but he hurt his back. He threw his back out, and he was miserable. So we went, got him the heating pad, the TENS unit, and everything. But since he's recovered, I have kept this heating pad on my office chair, and I use it every day, and it is wonderful. So that's an insight to my office.
Okay, so I don't know anything about Boone. What makes Boone great?
So it is just absolutely beautiful. I'll actually show this. Hang on. It is, so it's the mountains. Appalachian Mountains. They've got.
We don't call.
I know. Compared to what you're used to, but on this side of the world, on this side of the country, it's all we have. So I mean, it is absolutely beautiful, but it's also such a football town with the App State Mountaineers. They are all in. It is, and it's such a quaint little town. Skiing.
I bet you there's
winter,
good foliage.
football in the fall. Yes, It is stunning. So we go out that way all the time.
Okay, so now I can picture that because I've seen pictures of Boone, like of Appalachian State and the hills around it. It's really pretty. Like I've seen that picture of Appalachian State Stadium.
Yeah.
By the way,
it is beautiful.
Allie, did you go to the Clemson Notre Dame game? Did I see that?
You did see that.
I did.
It's my first time in Death Valley at Clemson. That was insane. Oh man, it was so much fun. It was so my takeaway from it, and everybody that we were with,
because you've been to Ohio State. Yeah, I'd like to know what that's like compared to like a Bucs team.
Okay, that's a good point. I don't think that they're on the same level. I think Ohio State, just the size of the stadium is unmatched. Like outside of maybe, and I hate to say this, but like the big house in Michigan. Sure. Yeah, just the number of seats available. I mean, it's north of 100,000. So it is absolutely massive. And you can feel the stadium shaking. I mean, it's crazy. I
Right.
mean, Clemson was so much fun, but in a different way. So it's a smaller stadium, it's a smaller school, but the environment was insane. I mean, the people, because in Clemson, upstate South Carolina, there really is no professional teams around, so they are all in on Clemson football.
Right.
What an experience, but the one huge takeaway that we all had was the people were probably the nicest and most hospitable people we have ever met in our lives.
Okay, so I want to double down on that. So it's funny you bring that up because Boise State played in Washington, D.C. several years ago, and we played at FedEx Field where the Commanders play, right? And what was very interesting, we played Virginia Tech,
Mhm.
and they were the nicest. Again, Virginia Tech, the South, right? Were some of the nicest, hospitable fans
Yeah.
I've ever been around. They're like, you guys are so good. And we beat them, but it was like, they were so nice. I was like, why are you so nice?
Yeah.
Like,
When
but
we got there before kickoff, they actually said a prayer in the stadium for visitors, saying, let's treat them with respect and
wow,
hospitality. I mean, it is true Southern hospitality. If you ever get the opportunity to go, highly, highly recommend it. It was so much fun. We even said when we left there, like, I know that, Clemson and Ohio State had a little bit of a rivalry, a couple of years ago, but man, it's hard not to root for them just because of how nice they were, and just the people were great. So really great experience.
it would be interesting because I haven't been to a Buckeyes game, and I'm going to get to a Buckeyes game.
Mhm.
And Allie, I think I'm going to try to talk you into a game next year, and we'll see. But
Okay,
I
sold.
got one on.
Easy.
Well, it's an away game, not a home game, so that's why I gotta. So next year, by the way, Allie, the Buckeyes play at the Ducks, play at the Oregon
Okay.
Ducks. They play in Eugene, so
Uh-huh.
that's quite the unique experience as well, being out there
It is.
where the Ducks play. But it would be interesting to go to, like you said, like a Clemson game, a Bucks game,
Mhm.
and then like a Alabama game. Because those are ones you could really uh, kind of look
Yeah.
at differently because they're different. Like, Alabama's in the South, but do they have Southern hospitality? I don't know. You know what I mean? I haven't been to an Alabama game.
Right.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to go around to where those big venues are and see. I know LSU is a pretty tough place to go into and play
Mhm.
between the hedges. But yeah, it'd be interesting to go and experience that because it's like a whole nother level, right? Like we all go to these NFL
Sure.
games, but you go to these college games, LA, it's like deafening when you go into those stadiums. Like it's
Yeah.
deafening, and it's interesting to see that. So, but yeah, Ali, I saw that on the schedule. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that because they're now part of the big
Big
whatever it's
10,
going
yeah.
to be. They play
The
out
the big
west and
100.
the big the big 100. But yeah, Ali, so I thought that was interesting. But Oregon, that'd be a good game. Oregon,
Be fun.
and it's actually one of only. I looked on the schedule. What I think is one of Ohio State's only challenging bigger road games, if that makes sense.
Could be.
But yeah, it's out in
All right.
Eugene now.
All right, we'll have to do it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This is a lot of
Yes,
fun. We will be back next week, so be sure to check us out. Some more interviews coming
Sunday
your way,
and
and
Sunday.
also Sunday. Yep, and also Sunday. So be sure to stop by. We'd love to have you. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, Browns fans,